that front. So let's talk about the Stoxx clothing businesses. Now, are you going to give them another glowing report on this front?
Pick n Pay's clothes are fantastic. It's designed for all those triple XL ladies. You know, that fresh produce stuff, it looks like you wear it once and then it starts to fall apart.
No, we're supposed to shoot him down on that. Chris, you've got to help me. Come down heavy-handed on Paul.
I think that's being a bit unfair. Look, the Pick n Pay's clothing site...
You're going to be in so much trouble.
Yeah, it's a relatively new phenomenon, and they do have certain standalone clothing outlets. But most of it is in the existing store, right at the back of the store. It's doing reasonably well. But, you know, I don't think it's ever going to be a huge business in the same way as Woolies, which is a hybrid for clothing and food side, has been over the years. And Woolies has really got that clothing side right in a big way after many, many years of struggling with it. Pick n Pay's, I think it's destined to be more of a situation where it's a nice adjunct, but it's never, in my opinion, it's probably never going to be a huge part of the business.
Now, you shot down Pick n Pay's clothing offering. What about Woolworths' clothing offering?
Yeah, look, when I was a little boy, I remember my mom buying Princess, was Woolies' brand. They had sort of Princess vesties for winter and that kind of thing. It was all very staid and old school.
Many years ago.
And then it sort of got a bit lost, and I think they had lots of different people doing the buying and so on. I, up until quite recently, was very skeptical about the clothing, you know, notwithstanding the fact that it takes up so much space. It just didn't look to me like they were going to be winning market share there anytime soon against the likes of the Truists and the Foshinis, which seemed just to be more dynamic. But I'll have to concede that in recent years that does seem to have shifted. I mean, a couple of days ago, my 15-year-old daughter came home with a bomber jacket type thing that looked like it was stolen from a dead German army operative, but it came from Country Road. The point I'm trying to make is if the 15-year-olds are buying their clothes at Country Road, that tells you things are definitely happening there.
So let's go to who's edging ahead on the clothing front. And I suppose here we're talking about Woolworths.
Oh yes, Woolworths. I mean, way ahead. There's no comparison.
What about the Australian stuff? I think we must just pause and give that some time. In Australia, I mean, we know that Pick n Pay were there, I think, more or less a bit. I'm not quite sure what Franklin's was in Australia, but it was a big failure.
No, they sold it.
Before that, in 1986, they were there. They were right at the forefront. They introduced scanning to the whole of Australia, but they had to leave because of the political situation.
But Franklin's was a general retailer, right?
It was, yes.
But in Australia, at least anyway, Woolworths has got serious clothing assets there. They bought Witchery Group most recently. Yep. Country Road came from there. Ian Moyer, the CEO, kind of came from there too. So, I mean, that's a big part of the business, but I'm told by people who specialize in clothing retail analysts that that thing looks good and the market there looks fine and the margins are good and so on and so forth.
So Woolworths is ahead on the clothing side and you concur, Paul?
Definitely, and as I say, where I was negative before, I'm positive about that and also about the household goods and all that stuff.